Hey guys, once again, welcome to the African Renaissance Show. And before we proceed, have a look at this video.
Because they go together, there's a nexus. And as it were, we need to burn the candle on both sides. So that's important. So that's agreed. And we all recognize and accept that we need capital at scale to address the key challenges that many countries in the world face, particularly the developing economy countries. And we also would be agreed that there needs to be more cooperation and coordination between your development banks, multilateral development banks, and the private sector. There needs to be coordination so that there is no fragmentation, which you kept talking about. But I think what is important to many of us is that there should be solid consensus on the reform of the financial architecture of the world. Because without that reform, the dreams and the objectives that we have to address our challenges will not be realized. And those reforms need to touch on a whole range of issues. Mr. Mo Ibrahim yesterday even spoke about something that we may think is insignificant, that the boards of directors of your multilateral institutions are not made up of independent directors. They are largely internal people or shareholders.
Yes, guys, the video is about President Ramaphosa from South Africa in a recent meeting that was held in France. And here he talks about, investments by Western countries into the Grand Inga Dam, which is a massive, project that is supposed to take place in the DRC. So there is no doubt that the Grand Inga Dam, is going to be a tectonic shift in terms of the development trajectory of African countries. This is because it is able to produce, I think, more than 50% of the current power production, in the African country. And obviously, you realize that it will have a huge potential in terms of, accelerating manufacturing, and providing jobs for the young people of the African continent. And as you know, the main challenge, that we have currently in the African continent is employment for the young people. That said, my viewers, I have a lot of disagreements in the manner in which, the president of South Africa is approaching this issue. This is because I believe African countries have, the capacity to, build, to construct this dam, and that we don't need the assistance of Western countries, to invest in this project. And if we allow Western countries to invest in this project, obviously it is going to have a negative ramifications for the African continent. This is because if we allow the Western countries to invest in the Grand Inga Dam, that obviously means that they'll have to invest a lot of money in the project, and that money, of course, is going to be refunded to these countries when the dam is operational. And obviously what this means is that the cost of production of energy is going to be very high, making the electricity that will come from the dam unaffordable to most African countries. And this is going to have a very negative, implication, because African youths will be unable to secure employment from industrialization, because, when the cost of power is very high, of course, it will become very hard, for manufacturing companies to operate at a profit. So my suggestion is, why can't the 54 African countries, or rather the sub-Saharan Africa countries, unite, and come out with, an investment vehicle that we can use to invest in the dam and make sure that it is, constructed. Yeah, because I believe African countries, this is not the 1990s, and many African countries have experienced tremendous growth over the past few years. They have the capacity to invest. If we put our minds into it, definitely it is going to be possible. But now, going to Western countries and begging, those countries to invest in such a project, that means that African countries are going to be beholden, to the West for a long period of time, and it will complicate the situation and make it hard for us to achieve our, development ambitions. And the reason why I have, disagreements with the current South African president is that although African countries on average have been independent for more than 50 years, we seem to have this Stockholm syndrome where we believe that we cannot do things by ourselves and that we have, to beg from the Western countries to do things for us. I think it is high time for us to believe in ourselves and follow the path that China has done in the past, believe in ourselves, invest in these projects so that we don't have burdens, so that electricity costs can pass on to the consumers at a very low price. And this will make it possible for African countries to compete with European and Western countries in terms of manufacturing and production, because we have the labor force, we have a young population, and we have everything that we need, to compete with Western countries. And after all, if you look at the Grad, Renaissance Dam, which Ethiopia invested in, it is producing more than 7,000 megawatts, and without any assistance from a foreign country in terms of funding. So why can't we mobilize ourselves, especially the sub-Saharan African countries, which are going to benefit from this project, and make sure that just like the Grand Renaissance Dam, that even this one, the Grand Inga Dam, comes to fruition and benefit the people of this continent and not sell ourselves short to Western countries in an arrangement where we are going to pay loans for hundreds and hundreds of years and make the cost of power expensive. Okay, bye guys, and if you'd like to watch this type of content, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Goodbye.